My wife says she can replace me any time. Most people replace their phones more often than she replaces her underwear. Guess I'm built to last, or maybe she's just lazy about shopping for upgrades. I'm Leon Draper, 40 years old, and I fix commercial drones for a living. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps my hands busy while my brain works on more interesting problems. Like figuring out why my wife Aubree thinks she's God's gift to Portland, Oregon. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Leon, can you grab me another mimosa? Aubree's voice cuts through the chatter at our neighbor's backyard barbecue. She's holding court near the pool, surrounded by her usual crew of gossips and wannabes. Her salon friends hang on every word, like she's dispensing life-changing wisdom instead of recycled Instagram quotes. I walk over with her drink, noting how she doesn't even look at me when she takes it. Her attention is focused on Corbin Lake, some 29-year-old fitness influencer who's been sniffing around her salon for the past month. Kid's got muscles where I've got experience, and apparently that's what passes for an upgrade these days. Thanks, honey, Aubree says, still not looking at me. She's wearing that tight sundress I bought her for our anniversary last year. The one she said made her feel young and alive again. Funny how she never felt old and lifeless until Corbin started commenting on her Instagram posts. So, Corbin, she continues, twirling her hair like a teenager, tell everyone about that sponsorship deal you mentioned. Corbin flexes his bicep and grins. Yeah, this supplement company wants to feature me in their summer campaign. They're looking for authentic fitness stories, real people living their best lives. Real people. Right. This kid's never worked a real job in his life. His biggest accomplishment is getting 50,000 followers by posting shirtless gym selfies and motivational quotes stolen from late philosophers. That's amazing, gushes Tammy, Aubree's best friend and chief enabler. I bet they pay really well for that kind of exposure. Oh, they do, Corbin says, puffing out his chest. It's all about knowing your worth and not settling for less than you deserve. I catch the look Aubree gives him. Pure hunger. Not the kind you satisfy with food, either. The kind that makes smart women do stupid things and faithful wives forget their wedding vows. Leon works with drones, Aubree announces suddenly, like she's introducing a circus act. He fixes them when they break. Cool, Corbin says, giving me the kind of dismissive nod you'd give a waiter. That's like technical stuff, right? Something like that, I reply. I also designed custom surveillance systems. Amazing what you can see from 100 feet up with the right equipment. Corbin's smile falters slightly, but Aubree jumps in before the conversation can get interesting. Leon's being modest. He's very good with his hands. She says it with just enough innuendo to make Tammy giggle and Corbin shift uncomfortably. Though I keep telling him he needs to think bigger, dream bigger. Some people are content to stay in their little boxes forever. There it is, the dig. The subtle reminder that I'm not ambitious enough, successful enough, young enough, or whatever enough to keep her satisfied. She's been dropping these hints for months, each one a little sharper than the last. I like my box, I say calmly. It's paid for, it's comfortable, and it comes with a great view of people trying to climb out of theirs. Maya, one of the stylists from Aubree's salon, snorts with laughter. She's always liked my sense of humor, probably because she's the only one in Aubree's circle with any sense left. Leon's funny, Maya says. Remember when you told that story about the client who wanted you to use a drone to spy on her ex-husband's new girlfriend? That wasn't funny, Aubree says sharply. That was unprofessional. Leon turned down good money because of some ridiculous moral stance. The ridiculous moral stance being that stalking is illegal, I point out. It wasn't stalking, it was information gathering. With a camera, without consent. That's literally the definition of stalking, Aubree. She waves her hand dismissively. This is exactly what I mean. Leon always finds reasons why things won't work, instead of figuring out how to make them work. It's a mindset thing. Corbin nods sagely, like he's witnessing profound wisdom instead of my wife publicly criticizing my character. Mindset is everything. You have to be willing to take risks, push boundaries. That's how you level up in life. Exactly, Aubree says, beaming at him. Some people are natural leaders, and some people are natural followers. There's nothing wrong with being a follower, as long as you know your place. The conversation around us has gotten quieter. Even Tammy looks uncomfortable. Maya's staring at her drink like she wishes she could disappear into it. Our host, Bob, is suddenly very interested in adjusting the grill temperature. But Aubree's not done. She never is when she gets rolling. I mean, look at my salon, she continues. I took a risk, followed my dreams, built something from nothing. Now I have my own business, my own clients, my own success. I didn't get there by playing it safe and fixing other people's broken toys. I take a long sip of my beer and consider my options. I could point out that her salon was built from nothing, using my savings as collateral for the loan. I could mention that I'm the one who installed all her security cameras, programmed her point-of-sale system, and set up her website. I could remind everyone here that her own success is still 6 months behind on payments to me for the initial investment. Instead, I smile. You're absolutely right, honey. You built something amazing. I'm proud of you. She blinks, clearly expecting a fight. Corbin looks disappointed, like he was hoping to see me get emasculated in public. Tammy seems confused by the lack of drama. Well, Aubree says, recovering quickly. I just think people should know their potential and not be afraid to reach for it. Life's too short to settle for mediocre. Speaking of potential, Corbin says, moving closer to her, you should really consider that modeling opportunity I mentioned. With your bone structure and style sense, you could definitely make it in the fashion world. You think so? Aubree practically purrs. Absolutely. I know some photographers who specialize in mature beauty. Very artistic, very tasteful, could really showcase your assets. Maya makes a gagging sound and covers it with a cough. Bob suddenly announces that the burgers are ready, even though they are clearly still raw. The party's energy has shifted from uncomfortable to downright awkward, but Aubree's eating it up. She's glowing under Corbin's attention like a teenager getting asked to prom. I've always thought I had untapped potential, she says. Sometimes you just need the right person to see it and encourage you to take that leap. The right person can change everything, Corbin agrees, his hand brushing her arm. Sometimes you have to leave the past behind to embrace your future. And there it is, the moment I've been waiting for without knowing it. The moment when my wife of 12 years basically announces to a backyard full of neighbors that she's ready to trade me in for a newer model. I finish my beer and set the bottle down on the nearest table. Well, this has been enlightening, I say. Aubree, when you're ready to go, I'll be in the truck. Actually, she says, not even trying to hide her irritation, I think I'll catch a ride with Tammy. You go ahead. Sure thing, I nod to Bob. Thanks for the hospitality. Great party. As I walk toward the gate, I hear Corbin's voice behind me. Don't worry about him. Some people just can't handle change. And Aubree's response. Tell me about it. I keep saying I can replace him any time, but honestly, at this point I'm starting to think I should. I pause at the gate, my hand on the latch. The entire party has gone silent. Even the neighbor's dog has stopped barking. I turn around slowly, giving everyone my best smile. You know what, Aubree? Let's test that theory. She stares at me, her mouth slightly open. What? You said you can replace me any time. Let's do it right now. Tonight. See how that works out for you. The silence is deafening. Tammy's clutching her drink like a life preserver. Maya's grinning behind her hand. Bob's pretending to be very busy with the grill. And Corbin's looking like he just swallowed a live fish. Aubree forces out a laugh. Leon, don't be ridiculous. I was just making conversation. Were you? Because it sounded like you were making a promise. I pull out my phone. Tell you what, let's call my lawyer right now. Get the paperwork started. You can be replaced and free to pursue all that untapped potential by morning. Leon? Or maybe, I continue, my voice carrying across the suddenly silent yard, you were just talking big in front of your new friend here, making promises you can't keep to impress someone who's probably already planning his exit strategy. Corbin's face flushes red. Hey man, I don't know what you're implying. I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. Fact 1, my wife thinks she can do better. Fact 2, you're encouraging her to believe that. Fact 3, neither of you has thought this through beyond the fantasy stage. I put my phone away and adjust my keys. But hey, don't let me stop you. Aubree, you want to replace me? Go for it. Just remember that replacements work both ways. I leave them there, frozen in their little tableau of adultery and ambition. As I drive home, I can't help but smile. Aubree always said I lacked ambition, that I didn't dream big enough. She's about to find out just how wrong she was. Monday morning brings the kind of gray drizzle that makes Portland famous and my mood philosophical. I'm sitting in my workshop, surrounded by the comfortable chaos of broken drones and half-finished projects, when my phone buzzes with a text from Aubree. We need to talk. What you did last night was embarrassing and childish. I set the phone aside and continue working on a custom surveillance drone for a security company. The irony isn't lost on me. I'm literally building tools to watch people who don't want to be watched, while my wife thinks I'm too oblivious to notice her increasingly obvious affair. The workshop door chimes, and Miles Peterson walks in carrying 2 cups of coffee and wearing his perpetually amused expression. Miles has been my best friend since high school and my business partner for the last 5 years. He's also the only person who finds my marriage as entertaining as I do. Heard you caused quite a stir at Bob's barbecue, he says, handing me a coffee. Tammy's been texting my wife all morning about the dramatic confrontation. Dramatic confrontation? I laugh. I offered to call a lawyer. If that's dramatic, Aubree's really been sheltering herself from reality. Speaking of reality, Miles says, settling into the chair across from my workbench, you might want to brace yourself. Word is that your wife spent the night consoling herself with her fitness guru. I look up from the drone's camera assembly. Already? That was fast, even for her. Maya saw Corbin's car parked outside the salon until 3 a.m. Apparently, they were discussing business opportunities until very late. Business opportunities. Right. I take a sip of coffee and consider this development. You know what the funny thing is? I'm not even angry. No? Not really. Disappointed, maybe. But not angry. It's hard to be angry when someone's behaving exactly like you expected them to. Miles studies my face. You've been planning for this, haven't you? Planning is a strong word. Let's say I've been preparing for various contingencies. Such as? I set down my tools and walk over to the filing cabinet in the corner. From the bottom drawer, I pull out a thick folder and drop it on the workbench between us. Such as making sure I understand exactly what I'm dealing with. Miles opens the folder and starts reading. His eyebrows climb steadily higher as he turns the pages. Leon, this is thorough? Insane. You've documented everything. Every expense, every investment, every loan, every asset. He looks up at me. The salon loan is in your name only? Aubree's credit wasn't good enough to qualify. I co-signed, but the bank required the primary applicant to have verifiable income and assets. Guess who that was? And the lease on the building? Also in my name. Aubree's listed as an authorized user, but I'm the legal tenant. The landlord required a guarantor with established credit history. Miles continues reading, his expression shifting from amusement to something approaching awe. The equipment, the furniture, the initial inventory, you paid for all of it? With documentation, receipts, bank transfers, credit card statements, all organized by date and category. What about the business license? Filed under both our names, but the tax ID and business bank account are tied to my social security number because, again, credit history. Miles closes the folder and stares at me. Your wife owns a business that exists entirely because of your financial backing, operates in a space you lease, and uses equipment you bought. Technically, she owns the business concept and the client relationships. Everything else is mine. Does she know this? She knows I helped her get started. I don't think she's ever bothered to read the fine print on anything she signed. Aubree's more of a big picture person. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Aubree. I'm serious, Leon. We need to discuss your behavior. This passive-aggressive nonsense needs to stop. I show the message to Miles, who snorts with laughter. Passive-aggressive, he says. Right. Because offering to call a lawyer when your wife publicly announces she can replace you is totally passive. To be fair, I haven't actually called the lawyer yet. Why not? I lean back in my chair and consider the question, because I want to see how far she'll take this. Right now, she's operating under the assumption that I'm a pushover who will just roll over and accept whatever she decides to do. She's counting on me being too nice, too passive, too whatever to actually follow through. And you want to prove her wrong? I want her to prove herself wrong. There's a difference. Miles grins. You're enjoying this. Maybe a little. Is that terrible? Probably. But I can't say I blame you. Aubree's been treating you like an accessory for months. It's about time she learned there are consequences. We're interrupted by the workshop door chiming again. This time it's Maya, looking flustered and slightly out of breath. Leon, thank God you're here. I need to talk to you. What's wrong? It's about the salon, about Aubree. She glances at Miles, then back at me. Can we talk privately? Miles is family. Whatever you need to say, you can say in front of him. Maya nods and takes a deep breath. Aubree came in this morning acting like she owns the world. She's been bragging to clients about her new direction in life, and how she's finally ready to take control of her destiny. Okay. She also announced that she's giving herself a raise and expanding the business. She wants to hire 2 more stylists and start offering massage services. Miles and I exchange glances. Did she mention how she plans to pay for this expansion? I ask. That's just it. She's been telling people that the salon is doing so well that she can afford to take bigger risks. She's acting like money isn't an issue. Money's always an issue, Miles observes, especially when you don't have any. Maya nods vigorously. That's what I thought. So I checked the appointment book and the receipts from last week. Leon, the salon barely broke even. After rent, utilities, supplies, and payroll, there's maybe $300 left over. $300, I repeat, and she wants to hire 2 more people and add services. It gets worse. She's been telling clients that she's considering opening a second location. She even mentioned looking at that empty space next to the coffee shop on Morrison Street. I pull out my phone and start scrolling through my banking app. Maya, do you know if Aubree's accessed the business account recently? She tried to yesterday, but the card was declined when she attempted to buy new equipment. She was furious about it. I find what I'm looking for and show the screen to Miles. The business account has a balance of $412. The equipment she tried to buy costs $800. So she's already spending money she doesn't have, Miles says. On a business that's barely profitable, Maya adds. While planning an expansion that would triple her overhead costs, I conclude. Maya wraps her arms around herself. Leon, I like working at the salon, but I'm worried. If Aubree's making decisions based on fantasy instead of reality, we're all going to suffer for it. The other girls are starting to ask questions. I close the banking app and look at both of them. What kind of questions? About job security, about whether the salon is really as successful as Aubree claims, about whether they should start looking for other positions. And what are you telling them? The truth. That I don't know what's going on, but something doesn't add up. Miles leans forward. Maya, hypothetically speaking, if the salon were to change ownership or management, would you and the other stylists be interested in staying? If we could keep our jobs and not have to deal with all this drama? Absolutely. I stand up and walk to the window, looking out at the drizzle. Maya, I need you to do me a favor. Keep doing exactly what you've been doing. Don't change anything. Don't confront Aubree. Don't discuss this conversation with anyone except the other stylists who are asking questions. What should I tell them? Tell them that changes are coming, but their jobs are safe if they want them to be. What kind of changes? I turn back to face her. The kind that happen when someone bites off more than they can chew. After Maya leaves, Miles and I sit in comfortable silence for several minutes. Finally, he speaks. You're really going to do this, aren't you? Do what? Whatever it is you're planning. This isn't just about divorce or hurt feelings. You're planning something bigger. I pick up my tools and return to working on the surveillance drone. I'm not planning anything, Miles. I'm just preparing to respond appropriately when Aubree makes her next move. And you think she will? I know she will. She's already committed to a course of action. Her ego won't let her back down now, especially not with Corbin whispering encouragement in her ear. What if you're wrong? What if she comes home tonight and apologizes? I look up at him and smile. Miles, my wife spent last night with another man and then texted me this morning to complain about my behavior. Does that sound like someone who's planning to apologize? He considers this. Point taken. Besides, even if she did apologize, it wouldn't change the fundamental problem. Aubree doesn't respect me. She thinks I'm weak, boring, and replaceable. An apology won't fix that. So what will? I return my attention to the drone, carefully adjusting the camera's focus mechanism. Nothing. That's the beauty of it. Some problems can't be fixed, only replaced. Miles laughs despite himself. You're a scary man, Leon Draper. No, I say, not looking up from my work. I'm just a man who pays attention. My phone buzzes with another text from Aubree. Fine. If you want to be childish, I'll handle this myself. Don't wait up. I show the message to Miles. Well, he says, that was fast. Faster than I expected, actually. I thought she'd at least try to maintain appearances for a few more days. What now? I save the message and put my phone away. Now we wait and see how long it takes her to realize that handling things herself requires resources she doesn't actually have. And if she figures that out, she won't. Aubree's always been better at spending money than making it. She's about to learn the difference. Tuesday morning arrives with the kind of crisp clarity that makes bad decisions look even worse in daylight. I'm in the workshop early, putting the finishing touches on a custom drone order, when my phone starts buzzing with notifications. The first is a text from Maya. Emergency at salon. Can you come in? The second is from Miles. Check Aubree's Instagram. Trust me. The third is from a number I don't recognize. This is Corbin. We need to talk. I set down my tools and open Instagram. Aubree's latest post is a selfie of her and Corbin at some upscale restaurant downtown, both of them looking disgustingly happy. The caption reads, New beginnings require courage to leave the old behind. Grateful for people who see your potential and aren't afraid to encourage you to reach for it. The post has 37 likes and a dozen comments, mostly from her salon friends offering various levels of support and shock. Tammy's comment stands out. "You go, girl. Life's too short to settle." I screenshot the post and text it to Miles with the message. "Well, that's not subtle." His response is immediate. "She's really doing this. In public. With documentation." Before I can respond, my phone rings. It's Maya. "Leon, you need to get down here. Something's wrong with the payment system. The appointment software is glitching, and Aubree's been here since 7 a.m. trying to fix things herself." "What kind of problems?" "The credit card reader won't process payments. The scheduling system keeps crashing, and the Wi-Fi is down. She's been on the phone with tech support for 2 hours, getting more frustrated by the minute." I grab my keys and toolkit. "I'll be there in 15 minutes. "Thank you. And Leon, she's different today. Manic, almost, like she's trying to prove something." The salon is chaos when I arrive. Aubree's behind the reception desk, surrounded by paperwork and looking like she hasn't slept. Her hair, usually perfect, is pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she's wearing yesterday's clothes. "Finally," she says when she sees me. "The whole system is down. I need you to fix it." "Good morning to you, too," I reply, setting down my toolkit. "What exactly is the problem?" "Everything. The payments won't process, appointments keep disappearing, and I can't access the business bank account online." I walk over to the computer terminal and start running diagnostics. "When did this start?" "This morning, when I tried to open. I have 3 clients coming in before noon, and I can't even confirm their appointments." "Aubree, when was the last time you updated the software?" "I don't know. That's your job." "Actually, it's not. I set up the system, but maintenance is the business owner's responsibility." She glares at me. "Fine. Whatever. Just fix it." I spend the next hour troubleshooting various issues. The payment system is down because the merchant account is overdue for renewal. The scheduling software crashed because it ran out of storage space. The Wi-Fi is down because no one paid the internet bill. "Okay," I say finally. "I can get everything working, but there are some underlying issues we need to address." "Such as?" "Such as the fact that your merchant account expired last week, your internet service was suspended for non-payment, and your software license needs to be renewed." Aubree stares at me. "What are you talking about? I never got any notices about any of that." I pull out my phone and show her the email account I set up for the business. "They're all here. 17 emails over the past month about various account renewals and payments due." "I don't check that email. I use my personal account for everything. The business email is what's on file with all your service providers. That's where they send the notices." "Then why didn't you tell me about them?" I take a deep breath and count to 3. "Because you're the business owner, Aubree. These are your responsibilities. But you handle all the technical stuff. I handle setup and repairs. You handle operations and maintenance. We discussed this when we set everything up." She waves her hand dismissively. "I don't remember that conversation." "I'm sure you don't." Maya appears from the back room, looking nervous. "Aubree, Mrs. Patterson is here for her 10 o'clock appointment. Tell her we're having technical difficulties and ask if she can reschedule." "I already did. She said this is the 3rd time this month that something's gone wrong with her appointment. She's thinking about finding a new salon." Aubree's face flushes red. "This is ridiculous. Leon, how long will it take to fix everything?" "To get the systems running temporarily." "About an hour. To properly resolve all the underlying issues?" "Several days, and it's going to cost money." "How much money?" I pull out a notepad and start calculating. Merchant account renewal, $200. Internet service reconnection and past due balance, $350. Software license renewal, $180. Plus various late fees and service charges. Call it $800 total. $800? That's insane. That's what happens when you don't pay your bills on time. "I don't have $800 just sitting around." Maya and I exchange glances. The salon's business account has $412 in it, and Aubree just admitted she doesn't have access to additional funds. "What about the business account?" I ask. "What about it?" "There's money in there. Not enough to cover everything, but enough to get started." "I tried to access it yesterday, but the card was declined." "Did you check the balance?" "The balance is fine. There's plenty of money." I pull out my phone and log into the business banking app. "Aubree, the current balance is $412. "That can't be right." I show her the screen. She stares at it like it's written in a foreign language. "But I had over $3,000 last month." "You had $3,000 in gross receipts last month. After expenses, taxes, and your salary, this is what's left." "My salary isn't that much?" Your salary is $2,000 a month, plus you've been using the business account for personal expenses. What personal expenses? I scroll through the transaction history. Dinner at Clyde's restaurant, $230. Shopping at Nordstrom, $450. Spa day at the Nines Hotel, $320. Should I continue? Aubree's face goes through several shades of red before settling on a dangerous crimson. Those were business expenses: networking, client development, professional appearance maintenance. Did you keep receipts? Document the business purpose? Report them properly for tax purposes? Silence. Aubree, using business funds for personal expenses is illegal. It's called commingling, and it can invalidate your business license. I didn't know that. It's basic business management, the kind of thing you learn when you take the time to understand what you're doing. Maya clears her throat. Should I cancel the rest of today's appointments? Aubree looks around the salon like she's seeing it for the first time. The reality of her situation is finally sinking in. No, she says finally. Leon, just get the payment system working. We'll figure out the rest later. I can get it working temporarily, but it'll crash again within a few days if we don't address the underlying issues. Fine. Do whatever you have to do. I spend the next 2 hours implementing temporary fixes and workarounds. By the time I'm finished, the salon is functional but fragile. One missed payment, one system glitch, one unexpected expense, and the whole thing will collapse. As I'm packing up my tools, Aubree approaches me with an expression I can't quite read. Leon, I want to thank you for this. I know things have been complicated between us lately. Complicated, that's one word for it. I saw your Instagram post this morning. She has the grace to look embarrassed. I was feeling emotional. Maybe I shouldn't have posted it. Maybe not. The thing is, I've been thinking about what you said at the barbecue, about replacements working both ways. And I think maybe we both need some space to figure out what we really want. I close my toolkit and look at her. Space. Yes. Time to think, to explore our options, to see what's really possible. Aubree, are you asking for a separation? I'm asking for flexibility, the freedom to see where life takes us without being locked into old patterns. Old patterns like marriage vows? Like assumptions about what our relationship has to be. I nod slowly. I see. And this exploration of possibilities, does it include Corbin? She lifts her chin defiantly. It might. He sees potential in me that others have missed. What kind of potential? Creative potential, business potential, personal potential. And what does he want in return for recognizing all this potential? Why does he have to want something? Maybe he's just being supportive. I laugh, and she flinches at the sound. Aubree, men like Corbin don't support women like you out of altruism. He wants something. The question is whether you're prepared to pay his price when he presents the bill. You don't know him. I know his type. I've been watching him operate for weeks. Watching him operate? I pick up my toolkit and head for the door. Aubree, you want space and flexibility? You've got it. But understand that flexibility works both ways. While you're exploring your options, I'll be exploring mine. What's that supposed to mean? It means that if you want to find out what life looks like without me, you're about to get a very thorough education. I leave her standing in the middle of her salon, surrounded by the temporary fixes and fragile systems that are all that's keeping her dream alive. My phone buzzes as I'm getting into my truck. It's a text from Corbin. Still need to talk. It's important. I delete the message without responding. Whatever Corbin wants to discuss, he's going to have to wait. I have more important things to do, like calling my lawyer. By Thursday, the cracks are starting to show. Maya calls me at 7 a.m. with panic in her voice. Leon, the payment system crashed again, and Aubree's not answering her phone. I have 6 clients scheduled today, and I can't process any transactions. Where's Aubree? I don't know. Her car's not here, and she didn't leave any instructions. This is the 3rd day this week she's been late or missing entirely. I'm already reaching for my keys. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Thank you. The other girls are starting to talk about looking for new jobs. This chaos is affecting everyone. The salon feels different when I arrive. The energy that usually buzzes through the space has been replaced by tension and uncertainty. Maya meets me at the door with a stack of past due notices. These came in yesterday's mail, she says. I think you should see them. I flip through the notices. Electric bill, overdue by 2 weeks. Lease payment, 15 days late. Supply vendors demanding payment for outstanding invoices. The total amount due is over $3,000. Maya, has Aubree mentioned any of this to you? She keeps saying everything's fine, that she's restructuring the business model, and that temporary cash flow issues are normal during transitions. What kind of transitions? That's just it. She won't give specifics. She talks about new opportunities and expanding her vision, but when we ask for details, she changes the subject. I boot up the computer system and start running diagnostics. The payment processor is down again, the scheduling software is corrupted, and the business bank account shows a balance of negative $237. Maya, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Okay. How many clients have you lost in the past 2 weeks? She hesitates, then pulls out the appointment book. 14 regular clients have canceled or no-showed without rescheduling. Mrs. Patterson found a new salon after her appointment got messed up 3 times. The Hendersons switched to that new place on Burnside after Aubree forgot about their anniversary cuts. What about new clients? 2 in the past month, but we've lost more than we've gained. I do the math in my head. 14 regular clients, each spending an average of $150 per month, equals over $2,000 in lost monthly revenue. In a business already operating on thin margins, that's catastrophic. Maya, I want you to gather the other stylists and have a meeting. Tell them I'll cover today's payment processing issues, but I need to know if they're committed to staying, if things change. What kind of changes? The kind that happen when someone's in over their head? I spend the morning getting the systems functional again, but it's like putting bandages on a severed artery. The underlying problems are too severe for temporary fixes. At noon, Aubree finally shows up, looking like she's been partying all night. Her makeup is smeared, her clothes are wrinkled, and she's wearing sunglasses indoors. Leon, what are you doing here? Fixing your payment system. Again. I didn't ask you to come in. Maya called me when she couldn't reach you and had 6 clients waiting. Aubree removes her sunglasses, revealing bloodshot eyes and dark circles. I was handling some business matters. What kind of business matters? If you must know, I was meeting with potential investors about expanding the salon. At 7 in the morning? On a Wednesday? It was a breakfast meeting. That lasted until noon? We had a lot to discuss. I save my work on the computer and turn to face her. Aubree, we need to talk about the financial situation here. What about it? I hand her the stack of past due notices. About the fact that you're $3,000 behind on basic operating expenses. She glances at the notices and waves them dismissively. Those are temporary issues. The investors I'm talking to will provide more than enough capital to cover everything. What investors? Private investors. People who understand the potential of what I'm building here. Names? I can't disclose that information. We're still in preliminary discussions. I pull out my phone and show her the business banking app. Aubree, your account is overdrawn. You're operating with negative money. That's impossible. Look at the screen. She stares at the negative balance, like it's personally insulting her. There must be some mistake. The mistake is spending money you don't have on things you don't need. I haven't been spending anything unnecessary. I scroll through the transaction history. Tuesday night, Clyde's Restaurant, $340. Monday afternoon, shopping at Pioneer Place, $260. Sunday brunch at the Heathman, $180. Those were business expenses. Who were you conducting business with? Silence. Aubree, you've been using the business account as your personal piggy bank while the actual business expenses go unpaid. I am the business. My personal expenses are business expenses. That's not how it works, and you know it. Maya appears from the back room, looking uncomfortable. Aubree, I hate to interrupt, but the supply delivery is here, and they're demanding payment on delivery. Cash only, because of the outstanding balance. How much? Aubree asks. $420. Aubree looks at me expectantly. Leon, can you cover this? I'll pay you back when the investor funding comes through. No. What do you mean, no? I mean, I'm not giving you money to continue mismanaging this business. This is my business. Built with my money, in a space I lease, using equipment I bought. The color drains from her face. What are you saying? I pull out the folder I've been carrying and set it on the reception desk. I'm saying it's time we clarified exactly what you own versus what you think you own. She opens the folder and starts reading. With each page, her expression grows more confused, then angry, then panicked. This says the lease is in your name, because I'm the one who qualified for it. The equipment loans are in your name, because you didn't have the credit rating. The business license lists you as the primary owner, because I'm the one who filed the paperwork and provided the financial backing. She looks up at me with something approaching horror. Are you saying I don't own my own salon? You own the business entity and the client relationships. Everything else, the location, the equipment, the infrastructure, belongs to me. But I work here every day. I built this clientele. And you've been compensated for that work through your salary and commission structure. My salary? Leon, I'm not your employee. According to the business filings with the state, you're the primary operator of a business owned by Draper Holdings, LLC, which is me. Maya has been listening to this conversation with growing amazement. Aubree, you never mentioned that Leon owned the salon. He doesn't own it. This is some kind of mistake. I pull out another document. This is the original business plan you signed when we set everything up. Your signature is on every page. She grabs the document and starts reading frantically. I don't remember signing this. You were more interested in picking out paint colors and furniture than reading legal documents. This is legal, binding, and very clear about the ownership structure. The supply delivery driver appears at the door, looking impatient. Ladies and gentlemen, I need payment now, or I'm taking the supplies back to the warehouse. Aubree looks at me desperately. Leon, please, just cover this one delivery. We can sort out the ownership issues later. There are no ownership issues to sort out. The ownership is already established. But the clients, the reputation, the relationships I've built are valuable assets. Assets that belong to a business I own. She stares at me like I've grown a second head. You're stealing my salon. I'm not stealing anything. I'm clarifying what was always true but never explicitly stated. This is insane. You can't just take over my business? I'm not taking over anything. I'm simply pointing out that it was always my business. You've been operating it under a management agreement. The delivery driver clears his throat. Folks, I really need a decision here. I look at Aubree. It's your choice. Pay for the supplies with money you don't have, or let me handle it as the business owner. And if you handle it, then we operate going forward with a clear understanding of roles and responsibilities. She looks around the salon, at Maya, who's watching with fascination, at the other stylists who've gathered to see what's happening at the space she thought was hers. Fine, she says finally. Handle it, but this conversation isn't over. I pay the delivery driver and sign for the supplies. As he leaves, I turn back to Aubree. You're right, this conversation isn't over, but the next part happens with lawyers present. Lawyers? You wanted space and flexibility to explore your options. I'm giving you all the space you need, but flexibility works both ways. I pack up my tools and head for the door. As I'm leaving, I hear Maya ask Aubree, So does this mean Leon's our boss now? And Aubree's response, Over my body. I smile as I walk to my truck. Aubree always did have a flair for the dramatic. She's about to find out just how dramatic things can get. Friday morning brings the kind of crystalline autumn air that makes everything seem possible. I'm in my workshop, putting the finishing touches on a new surveillance drone, when my phone rings. It's my lawyer, Patricia Chen. Leon, I've reviewed all the documents you sent over. This is either the most thorough business planning I've ever seen, or you're psychic. Just careful. Well, your carefulness is about to pay off. Your wife's lawyer called this morning demanding an immediate settlement conference. That was fast. Apparently, Mrs. Draper is claiming you've illegally seized control of her business and is threatening to file for emergency injunctive relief. I set down my tools and lean back in my chair. What did you tell them? I told them we'd be happy to meet and that I looked forward to reviewing their documentation of her ownership claims. And there was a very long pause, followed by some creative cursing, followed by a demand that we meet today. Today? This afternoon, 2 o'clock at my office. Bring all your paperwork. I'll be there. After I hang up, I call Miles to fill him in on the developments. So it's really happening, he says. You're really going to go through with this. She forced my hand. I gave her every opportunity to handle this maturely. And instead, she's been parading around town with her boy toy, spending money she doesn't have, and running the business into the ground, while publicly humiliating me and announcing her intention to replace me. Fair point. What's your endgame here? I walk to the window and look out at the street. Honestly, I just want her to face the consequences of her choices. For once in her life, I want Aubree to deal with reality instead of expectations. And if she can't, then she'll learn what it actually means to start over. At 1:30, I'm sitting in Patricia's conference room with 3 folders of documentation spread across the table. Patricia is reviewing the business formation documents while I organize the financial records. Leon, this is remarkable. Every expense, every investment, every transaction is documented and categorized. I like to keep good records. This goes beyond good records. This is comprehensive. I had a feeling I might need it someday. At exactly 2 o'clock, Aubree arrives with her lawyer, a thin, nervous-looking man named Robert Sterling, who keeps adjusting his tie. Aubree is dressed like she's going to a job interview, all professional and put together, but I can see the panic in her eyes. "Thank you all for coming," Patricia begins. "I understand there are some questions about the ownership structure of Aubree's salon." "There are no questions," Sterling interjects. "My client owns and operates the business. Mr. Draper's recent actions constitute an illegal takeover." Patricia slides a copy of the business formation documents across the table. "Perhaps you could review these and tell us what you think." Sterling starts reading, and I watch his expression change from confident to confused to concerned. Aubree is watching his face, and I can see her own confidence starting to waver. "These documents appear to show," Sterling begins, then stops and starts over. "According to this paperwork, the business is owned by Draper Holdings, LLC, with Mrs. Draper listed as the primary operator." "That's correct," Patricia confirms. "But surely there are other documents, partnership agreements, ownership transfers." "We'd be happy to review any additional documentation you have." Sterling looks at Aubree. "Mrs. Draper, do you have copies of any ownership agreements?" Leon handled all the paperwork when we set up the business. I assumed." "You assumed what?" "I assumed it was in both our names. We're married. I thought that meant—" Patricia pulls out another folder. "These are the financial records for the business. Every initial investment, every loan, every equipment purchase. All funded by Mr. Draper, all documented, all legally established as business assets owned by Draper Holdings." Sterling reviews the financial documents, and his face goes pale. "Mrs. Draper, did you contribute any initial capital to the business?" "I contributed my expertise, my vision, Any money?" "Not directly, but—" "Any equipment, inventory, or assets?" "The business was my idea." "Ideas aren't assets, Mrs. Draper." Aubree looks at me across the table, and for a moment I see the woman I married 12 years ago, vulnerable, uncertain, looking to me to fix whatever's wrong. "Leon, this is crazy. You can't just take away my business." "I'm not taking away anything, Aubree. I'm just clarifying what was always true." "But I work there every day. I built the clientele." "And you've been paid for that work. Your salary, your commissions, your benefits, all documented and above board." Sterling leans forward. "Mr. Draper, what exactly are you proposing?" I pull out a final folder and distribute copies of the document inside. "I'm proposing to sell the business." The room goes silent. "Sell it?" Aubree whispers. "To whom?" Sterling asks. "To Mrs. Draper, if she wants it." Aubree's face lights up with hope. "Yes, I want to buy it. How much?" Patricia slides another document across the table. "This is a professional business valuation conducted by an independent appraiser. The total value of the business, including equipment, inventory, client relationships, and goodwill, is assessed at $47,000. $47,000? Aubree stares at the appraisal. That's a lot of money." "It's actually quite reasonable for a business of this type and revenue level," Patricia explains. "But I don't have $47,000. "Then you'll need to secure financing." Sterling clears his throat. "What about a payment plan? Monthly installments?" "We'd be open to discussing terms," Patricia says, "assuming Mrs. Draper can demonstrate the ability to make the payments and maintain the business operations." "What do you mean?" I pull out the final folder. "I mean, you'd need to show that you can cover the monthly payment, plus rent, plus utilities, plus supplies, plus payroll, plus insurance, plus all the other expenses of running a business." "How much would the monthly payment be?" Patricia does a quick calculation. "Assuming a 5-year loan at current interest rates, approximately $900 per month." $900? Plus the $1,500 in monthly rent, plus utilities, plus supplies, plus... I get it. Aubree's voice is barely audible. Sterling reviews his notes. "Mrs. Draper, what's the monthly profit of the business currently?" "It varies, but usually around..." "The business financial records show an average monthly profit of $412, I interrupt, before owner salary." "So the monthly payment alone would be more than double the current profit," Sterling observes. "Significantly more." Aubree looks around the room like she's trapped in a nightmare. "This is impossible. You're making it impossible for me to buy my own business." "I'm not making anything impossible. I'm just showing you what it actually costs to own and operate a business." "But how am I supposed to come up with that kind of money?" "The same way anyone starts a business. Savings, loans, investors, partners." "I don't have savings." "Then get a loan." "Who's going to loan me $47,000? "The same banks that would loan money to any other potential business owner." Sterling closes his folder. Mrs. Draper, given your current financial situation and credit history, I don't think traditional financing is realistic. What about the investors I've been talking to? What investors? Aubree's face flushes red. I've been in discussions with several potential investors about expanding the business. Names? I can't. It's confidential. Mrs. Draper, do these investors actually exist? The silence stretches for nearly a minute. Corbin said he knew people. Corbin? He has connections in the business world. He said he could help me find funding. Sterling looks like he wants to crawl under the table. Mrs. Draper, has this Corbin person provided you with any written commitments or documentation? Not yet, but he said... What exactly did he say? He said that once I separated from Leon and established my independence, he could introduce me to investors who specialize in women-owned businesses. I can't help but smile. Aubree, what did Corbin want in return for these introductions? Nothing. He was just being supportive. Nothing? He mentioned that he might be interested in being involved in the business himself, as a partner. What kind of partner? A business partner. Maybe expanding into fitness and wellness services. Patricia and Sterling exchange glances. Even Sterling looks embarrassed for her. Mrs. Draper, Patricia says gently, it sounds like this Corbin person was encouraging you to divorce your husband so that he could gain access to a business he didn't build or pay for. That's not... He wouldn't... Where's Corbin now? I ask. We're taking some time to think about our future. When did you last speak with him? Yesterday, or maybe Wednesday. We've both been busy. Busy with what? Business development, planning our strategy. I pull out my phone and open Instagram. Corbin's latest post is a photo of him with a different woman, both of them at some beach resort. The caption reads, New adventures with amazing people. Life's too good to waste on drama. Moving on, not your beach life, no looking back. I slide the phone across the table to Aubree. She stares at the screen for a long moment, her face cycling through confusion, realization, and finally devastation. He's with someone else. Looks that way. But he said, he promised, he told you what you wanted to hear so you'd do what he wanted you to do. Aubree's hands are shaking as she sets down the phone. I don't understand. We had plans. He said he loved me. Aubree, men like Corbin don't fall in love with women like you. They fall in love with what you can give them. What's that supposed to mean? It means he saw a successful business owner with assets and resources, and he wanted access to both. But the business isn't... He didn't know that. You've been telling everyone, including him, that you owned a thriving salon. I do own a thriving salon. No, you don't. You never did. The fight goes out of her all at once. She slumps in her chair like a deflated balloon. So what happens now? She asks quietly. Patricia looks at me, and I nod. Now you have a choice, Patricia says. You can try to secure financing to buy the business, or Mr. Draper will put it up for sale to other buyers. What other buyers? Maya and the other stylists have expressed interest in forming a cooperative to purchase it. Aubree's head snaps up. Maya? My Maya? Your former employee Maya, yes. She can't afford to buy a business. Actually, she can. She and the other stylists have been saving money for months, anticipating that changes were coming. They've been planning this behind my back? They've been planning for their future, just like you have. Aubree looks around the room one more time, and I can see the exact moment when reality finally hits her. I've lost everything, haven't I? You've lost the things you never actually owned, I correct. Your skills, your reputation with clients who still trust you, your ability to work in the industry, those are still yours. But not the salon. Not the salon. Not the equipment. Not the equipment. Not the client list. Not the client list. She nods slowly, like she's processing information from a great distance. What about our marriage? I look at her across the table, this woman who publicly humiliated me, spent money we didn't have, betrayed our vows, and announced her intention to replace me. What about it? Is there any way to fix this? Aubree, you told a room full of people that you could replace me any time. You spent the night with another man. You've been planning to leave me for someone who saw you as a meal ticket. I made mistakes. You made choices. Can we work through this? I stand up and gather my papers. Some things can be repaired, Aubree. Some things can only be replaced. Leon, please? You have 30 days to decide about the business. After that, we're accepting other offers. And us? There is no us. You replaced me, remember? I walk toward the door, then pause and look back at her. For what it's worth, I hope you figure out what you really want, but you're going to have to figure it out on your own. As I leave the conference room, I can hear Aubree crying and Sterling trying to console her. Patricia follows me into the hallway. That was either very cruel or very necessary, she says. Maybe both. Any regrets? I think about the question as we walk toward the elevator. 12 years of marriage, reduced to a stack of legal documents and a business transaction. No, I say finally. No regrets. 2 weeks later, Maya and her partners finalize the purchase of the salon. They rename it Collective Hair, and their first month's revenue exceeds anything Aubree ever achieved. Aubree moves back in with her mother and takes a job at a chain salon in Beaverton. Corbin never returns from his beach vacation. And me? I'm exactly where I started, except now I know what I'm worth. Turns out I was irreplaceable after all. The end final character count, 62,847 characters. Stvorno. 2025, 11/18, 10/48/12.